Some men have no idea why women notice them the moment they walk into a room, even before a word is spoken. It's not their lines, their jokes, or how charming they try to be. It's something deeper, something almost invisible, and it triggers desire in a way that can feel confusing, especially if you've been told that talking, explaining, or impressing is the key. Desire doesn't start in conversation. It starts in the way a man exists, the way he moves, reacts, and carries himself. Women feel it instinctively before they can even understand it. That pull, that spark, happens quietly but powerfully, and it has nothing to do with trying hard or saying the right thing. In fact, over-explaining or chasing usually destroys it. Some men naturally create this pull. They don't talk to be understood. They don't seek approval. They don't perform or manipulate. Their energy alone makes women notice, think, and feel. It's subtle, but it's impossible to ignore. And the frustrating part is that most men never learn this, because society teaches them the opposite. Talk more, prove yourself, explain yourself. But desire doesn't respond to words. It responds to energy, presence, and restraint. When a woman feels desire, she doesn't analyze it logically. She doesn't care about clarity or justification. She feels tension, curiosity, and anticipation, sometimes without realizing why. That's what makes certain men irresistible without ever saying a word. And the ones who understand this don't try to force it. They just live it. In this video, you're going to see exactly why some men trigger female desire naturally, why most fail, and how you can shift the way women experience you. No tricks, no gimmicks, just honest insight from a woman who knows how desire actually works. By the end, you'll start understanding the power of presence and energy in a way that changes everything. 1. Why she notices you before you speak. You might not realize it, but women are noticing far more than you think, often before you even open your mouth. It's not your words, your jokes, or your attempts to impress us. It's the way you carry yourself, the subtle energy you radiate, and how grounded you appear in the moment. Women pick up on it instantly, even if they can't put it into words. I remember a moment in my own life where this happened. There was a man in a room full of people, and he barely said anything. He didn't smile excessively, didn't try to charm anyone, and didn't position himself as interesting. But I noticed him, and I found myself watching him without even realizing why. It wasn't logical. It wasn't about his looks or what he had to say. It was the calmness in how he moved, the subtle confidence in his posture, and the sense that he didn't need anyone's approval to feel okay. That magnetic pull, that curiosity, that spark of desire, it was there without a single word. What women feel in moments like this is instinctive. It's primal. Desire often starts before the mind has time to analyze anything. A woman might think she's just curious, or that she's not sure why she's paying attention, but what's happening is emotional. She's reacting to a man's presence, his energy, and how he handles himself. That's why some men seem to make women feel something immediately, even if they've never spoken to them before. Most men don't understand this because they're focused on being interesting or fun. They fill silence with explanations, stories, or attempts to prove themselves. But desire doesn't begin in explanation. It begins in perception, energy, and subtle nonverbal cues. How you enter a room, how you stand, how you respond to what's happening. All of it communicates far more than your words ever will. The key here is self-possession. Women feel desire when they sense that a man is complete in himself, that he's not leaning on their attention or approval, that independence, calm, and presence are far more compelling than any line or clever remark. Understanding this is the first step to triggering female desire naturally, without saying a word. 2. The silent signals that drive her wild. Women are constantly picking up on signals, subtle, almost invisible ones, that tell us a lot about a man, often before he says anything. These signals aren't about your words or even your intentions. They're about your energy, your posture, and the way you move through the world. When a man exudes calm, self-assured energy, women notice. When he's tense, anxious, or overly eager, we notice that too, even if nothing has been said. Your body language speaks louder than any line you can deliver. The way you carry yourself when you walk into a room, how your eyes move, how relaxed or confident your gestures are, all of it is being read. Women respond emotionally first, long before we think rationally. That emotional response is what desire is built on. There are also micro-behaviors that matter more than men realize. Standing slightly apart from the crowd, moving with purpose, making eye contact that isn't aggressive but steady, listening without reacting immediately. All of these small signals communicate independence and control. Women feel that energy, and it triggers interest and desire automatically. Even the way a man handles attention is a signal. If a woman notices that you're not reacting overly to others' presence or approval, it signals self-containment. That calmness, that lack of need, is magnetic. Desire thrives on contrast. We are drawn to men who are emotionally available, but not emotionally dependent. Another key element is timing and restraint. Pausing before responding, not rushing to fill silence, letting interactions breathe. These are silent cues that communicate confidence. They tell a woman that you are in control, not desperate for validation, and that your energy doesn't hinge on her reactions. That's what drives her wild on a subconscious level. Most men think women are only influenced by conversation, jokes, or charm. The truth is, what women notice first is almost always nonverbal. Words can enhance or ruin desire, but the real spark starts with energy, presence, and silent communication. Once a man understands this, he can naturally create attraction without ever trying to explain or justify himself. 3. How inner strength sparks desire. Women feel inner strength before we hear a single word. It's not about being loud, dominating, or showing off. It's about being steady, grounded, and emotionally independent. Men who trigger desire without speaking carry an energy that tells us they don't need anyone's approval to feel complete. That alone is irresistible. Inner strength shows in subtle ways. The way a man stands, the way he holds his gaze, or the calmness in how he moves through a situation. All of these signals communicate confidence and security without a single conversation. We notice when a man is comfortable in his own skin, and that comfort triggers curiosity and attraction. It tells us, I am in control of myself, and I'm not leaning on anyone else for my happiness. What's often misunderstood is that this isn't arrogance. It's quiet confidence paired with self-awareness. Women pick up on insecurity immediately, even when it's unspoken. A man who fidgets, seeks constant validation, or overreacts to small shifts in attention immediately kills desire. On the other hand, a man who remains composed, who can hold his own energy even if she teases, pulls away, or tests him, sparks instinctive attraction. Women also notice how a man handles challenges or unexpected moments. A calm response in a tense situation communicates emotional control. A woman may not consciously think about it, but she feels it. That energy tells her she can trust you, respect you, and feel drawn to you without needing to understand every detail of your mind. Inner strength is also about not chasing. Men who trigger desire don't over-explain, don't try to win approval, and don't push for validation. Instead, they live fully in the moment and let interactions unfold naturally. That independence creates tension, the good kind, that fuels desire. The biggest lesson here is simple. Women desire men who are grounded in themselves, not in the interaction. Desire grows from seeing a man who is steady, reliable, and emotionally complete. When a man embodies this kind of inner strength, desire ignites automatically, even before words come into play. 4. Why over-explaining makes her lose interest. One of the fastest ways men kill desire is by trying to explain themselves too much. Most guys think that if they clarify intentions, justify actions, or provide context, a woman will understand them and feel more attracted. The truth is, desire doesn't need understanding. It thrives on feeling, tension, and subtle uncertainty. Women pick up on over-explaining instantly. It signals insecurity and neediness, even if you're just trying to be honest. When a man feels the need to justify why he's doing something or clarify every little action, it communicates that his emotional state depends on her reaction. That's not magnetic. That's exhausting. Desire dies the moment a woman feels she has to process or validate a man's explanations. The way a man handles himself in silence communicates far more than his words. If you fill every gap with talking, you remove the tension that keeps desire alive. Women are wired to respond to presence and energy first, words second. The more you talk to be understood, the less space you leave for her to feel intrigue or curiosity. Another reason over-explaining kills desire is that it removes mystery. Women notice when a man is too available emotionally, too eager to justify himself, or too concerned with how she perceives him. Mystery isn't about secrecy or manipulation. It's about holding your energy, letting her experience it, and not rushing to make sense of everything. That pull, the kind that triggers desire, comes from what she feels in the interaction, not what she understands. A subtle shift in mindset changes everything. Focus on being experienced rather than explained. Speak when necessary, but let your presence, confidence, and calm energy do most of the work. Desire responds to what she senses and feels, not to your rational explanations. When you stop over-explaining, you allow tension, curiosity, and emotional pull to grow naturally. Women feel the energy, sense the control, and desire the man who doesn't need to justify his existence or his intentions. That's how some men trigger desire effortlessly. They understand that words are secondary to how they carry themselves. 5. The power of holding back. Some men think that desire grows the more you give. More attention, more explanations, more effort. But women feel desire differently. Desire grows when a man holds back, when he doesn't give everything away at once. That restraint creates tension, anticipation, and curiosity, and those feelings are incredibly powerful. I remember a moment where this happened naturally. A man I was interested in didn't text me constantly or rush to respond. When we talked, he didn't overshare or try to impress me. He said what he needed to, smiled, and left the conversation open. I noticed him more than any man who had tried hard to win my approval. There was something magnetic about the way he controlled his energy, how he didn't need me to fill gaps for him, and how he let me wonder about him. That restraint made me pay attention in a way that eagerness never could. Holding back doesn't mean ignoring a woman or playing games. It means not over-investing emotionally too early, not filling silence unnecessarily, and not trying to manufacture attraction with actions or words. Women feel when a man is in his own space emotionally, and that space naturally creates pull. We are drawn to men who have self-possession, who don't rely on our attention to feel complete. Another aspect of holding back is how you respond to her energy. If she flirts or teases, you don't overreact or try to escalate immediately. You allow her to lead some of the energy naturally, and your calm, measured responses heighten desire. Women pick up on the subtle balance between availability and restraint. That balance creates intrigue, and intrigue is at the core of desire. Men who understand this don't need to force attraction. They simply maintain their energy, remain centered, and let desire unfold naturally. It's about giving her space to feel curiosity and anticipation, rather than providing immediate gratification or over-explaining intentions. Desire grows in the tension between closeness and distance, not in constant pursuit or oversharing. When a man masters the power of holding back, he becomes magnetic without saying much. He doesn't need to impress or convince, he simply exists in a way that women notice, feel, and respond to instinctively. 6. The energy women can't resist. Women notice energy before anything else. It's invisible, but it speaks louder than words ever could. Some men trigger desire without saying a thing because they carry a presence that naturally draws attention. This isn't about being flashy or dominating the room. It's about being emotionally stable, self-contained, and confident in your own skin. Energy is the way you feel and move internally, and it communicates to the world without a single word. Women pick up on this instinctively. If your energy is tense, uncertain, or reactive, she feels it. If it's calm, grounded, and strong, she feels that too, and it sparks curiosity, intrigue, and desire. One of the most important aspects of this energy is emotional self-sufficiency. Women are wired to respond to men who are not dependent on their attention for validation. A man who is calm, even if she doesn't notice him, immediately communicates that he owns his world, that he's not trying to manipulate her feelings, and that he has a life that doesn't revolve around her reactions. That kind of energy creates a natural pull. Another key part is presence. Being fully aware of the moment, engaging without forcing outcomes, and moving through life without rushing or overreacting signals strength and stability. Women notice when a man is centered. They don't need to understand it logically. They just feel it. That feeling is magnetic. Energy also influences micro-movements. The way a man makes eye contact, his posture, the pace of his gestures, or even how he reacts to the environment subtly communicates confidence and control. Women respond to these cues instinctively, and desire grows. Words may enhance the attraction, but the foundation is the energy itself. The men who naturally trigger female desire understand this on an intuitive level. They don't try to force attention or impress. They project a stable, confident energy, and women feel drawn to it without explanation. When your energy is right, desire doesn't need to be spoken. It happens naturally, effortlessly, and powerfully. 7. Stop killing desire without realizing it. Here's a hard truth most men never face. Desire is fragile, and most of you are sabotaging it without even knowing. You think saying the right things, being charming, or explaining yourself will make a woman want you more. The opposite is true. Words alone rarely create desire, and too much of them often kills it before it even has a chance to grow. Women feel everything: tension, neediness, overexcitement, before we even hear your words. A man who overreacts to her moods, texts too quickly, or tries too hard to explain every little thing communicates dependence. That dependence is the opposite of desire. Desire grows when a woman feels curiosity, attraction, and tension, not responsibility or pressure. Most men also fail because they confuse friendliness with magnetism. Being nice, polite, or fun is not the same as being desirable. Desire thrives on contrast: calm versus energy, strength versus softness, presence versus neediness. When you overcompensate to please or make her understand you, you flatten that contrast. You remove the pull that keeps her engaged emotionally and physically. Here's the wake-up call. Women don't need your approval. They don't need your explanations. They respond to how you carry yourself. If your energy depends on her reactions, you are already killing desire before you speak. A man who triggers desire doesn't overexplain, doesn't chase, and doesn't need constant validation. He exists with confidence, calm, and self-possession, and women feel it instinctively. This is your chance to reflect. Are you trying too hard to make her understand or like you? Are you overreacting to small shifts in attention? Are you giving away too much of yourself too quickly? Desire responds to restraint, energy, and confidence, not effort or words. Wake up to this. Shift your focus from proving yourself to owning your presence. Stop trying to control her feelings. Let your energy do the work. When you do, desire grows naturally, and women notice, without you ever saying a word. Here's something most men don't realize. You can't talk a woman into desire. You have to make her feel it. Words are secondary. What actually sparks attraction is how you exist, the energy you carry, and the way you handle yourself without needing her approval. Men who trigger desire effortlessly understand this instinctively. They don't chase, overexplain, or react to every shift in attention. They hold their energy steady, and women feel it instantly. Desire grows in tension, curiosity, and anticipation, not in comfort or constant explanation. Women respond to presence, emotional control, and subtle confidence. That's why some men can be magnetic without saying a single word, while others try hard and fail. The difference isn't charm or lines. It's the way a man carries himself, the energy he projects, and the restraint he shows. Take a moment to reflect. Are you over-explaining, over-chasing, or reacting too much? Are you relying on words to create attraction instead of cultivating presence and confidence? Shifting this mindset changes everything. When you focus on how you feel, how you move, and how you exist, desire happens naturally, often before you even speak. I want to hear from you. Have you ever noticed a woman drawn to you without explanation? Or maybe you've realized moments where your own behavior killed desire without you knowing. Share your experiences in the comments. I'll read them and engage with you because understanding female desire isn't about theory. It's about real-life experiences and awareness. Start observing, start shifting, and notice how desire begins to respond effortlessly.